Okay, so the plan for today is to do a live solve of question one, and in the process, familiar ourselves with functions once again, or for the first time. Okay? So,
Like Daniel changed his profile picture. Who did?
okay, so people are joining right now. I'm gonna have to start chasing up one person.
Gavin.
Okay, so can I have a microphone check? Can people?
Oh my god.
Hello.
Hello. So
Hi.
that's here. Daniel's here. What about Rihanna?
Proves a lot.
Rihanna's here. Okay, good. So
Did you not say mic check?
so the plan for today is to live solve question one. Okay, and if you don't know what the notation means right now, I mean, I'll explain it in detail as we go. But this will be a good chance to learn about what a function is. Um, so positive integers are just whole numbers. Okay. So functions for the time being, I guess before I go into detail, it's really just so for every so f brackets a is a positive integer um, for every sort of input a you put in the brackets. So another way of thinking about it, I guess, is like you have a variable for every different thing that goes in the spot for a, okay? And it varies over the set of positive integers. And then the rest is stuff that you could probably be familiar with, like divisible by, and then positive integers. Okay, so once I figure out where Gavin is, we can get started. So keep a list of questions, okay? And I think it's a good habit to try to like if you're not asking any questions at all in class, if you're not interacting, to think of like at least one question to ask every segment. That makes sense? Okay, so just give me a sec. Okay, hopefully that's enough time to have do you have any questions about this? So a good question someone asked me was what was an integer? Okay. Obviously that can't be a good question for forever, but first time you hear the word integer, that might be a good question.
Dang, who asked that? Who asked such a great question?
Yes. So Daniel knows that it's a positive number. It's also a whole number. Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
So the integer might not be positive, but here we have our integers being positive.
It's crazy.
Doesn't Z plus mean the set of positive integers?
Exactly.
Amen. Where's Gavin Bot? I miss him.
Oh, shush.
It's the FU question. I swear you're weak, buddy.
What is that?
Christian, have you shown yourself a sense of helplessness and desire to learn yet? I think I have.
I'm Martin. I'm so bad. I can't even win a game.
Oh, shush.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. So we all know what a positive integer is, right?
Hi, sir.
So the set of positive integers. This is not quite standard notation, but well, they define it, so it doesn't have to be standard. So this is usually give as the set of. This is the set of integers.
What's that symbol?
This is it.
Oh.
So in integers, I think the word for integer in German starts with a Z, and so
Why
maybe
is it German? Why can't it be
bad
Japanese?
question. Stop asking. Okay. So yeah, see, there are such things as bad questions. When you have these guys in the class long enough, it's just a master class in bad questions. All right. Okay, so Z is the set of so the Z is the set of integers. Okay, so integers is like positive and negative whole numbers. All right, Z plus. So this is not standard notation, but they have is the set of positive integers. And so usually when you don't have standard notation, you define it, right? So that's why they said let Z plus be the set of positive integers. Okay, now we're asked to determine all the functions. Okay, so once you have sets, you can talk about functions. So a function, so this is, we'd say a function from Z plus to Z plus, right? So a function from the set of all positive integers to the set of all positive integers, okay? So a function. To the set of all positive integers.
Ew, no.
Okay, do people know what a function is?
No.
No.
Set
I
up
know.
a poll for it. Poll.
Okay, who knows what a function is?
Christian,
Bro, stop. I'm trying to pick up the tissue.
not my problem. Go do it. So.
That's what I'm doing.
Ah.
So one yes, one no, and one.
Christian, you don't just aim. You can't get up from the ground over.
Yeah, we went through this. We've been through this many times. Some people are new. But every time we go through it, I kind of offer you a sort of a new thing to think about anyway. So, okay, so basically, one way to think about a function is it takes inputs as positive integers and it gives you outputs as positive integers. Okay, So what does it look like? So an input as a positive integer could be like a 3, right? Yeah. And what does it look like to put that into the function f? It looks like this. So the output for 3 is written like this. Okay?
What? I've written. Oh.
So a function, you can maybe kind of think of it in terms of a symbol. It's like a f with a bracket, and there's an empty space here that needs an input. Okay? And when you put an input in there like 3, this whole thing now becomes the expression for the output when you input 3.
Oh.
Okay? So the basic definition of a function is it has to accept all positive integers as inputs. Okay?
Oh.
So this thing here, everything in here has to be an acceptable input. Okay? And this thing, when it says goes to z plus, it means that the outputs have to be all positive integers. Okay? It doesn't mean that every positive integer will be output. It just means the output is a positive integer. Okay? Yeah. So yeah, that's all there is to it, really. I mean, another way of thinking about it is like once we had variables like x1, x2 before, right? x3. And the reason we had like x's with all the different things before was you might have a lot of variables. You can't just name them x, y, z forever. Yeah. So you go x1, x2, and x3, and that's kind of like a function. As far as you're concerned, a function is kind of like that. Instead of having an x, you have an f, and instead of having a 1, 2, well, you can even have a 1, 2, 3, right? So maybe sort of practically, the only difference in x1, x2, x3 as variables and f of 1, f of 2, and f of 3 is that instead of having a subscript where you write the number under, like, to the bottom right of the letter, here you write the number in brackets next to on the right of the letter. Yeah? Does that make sense? So for the purpose of this question, it's actually almost the same thing. Okay, so now what does it mean to determine all the f's? So I guess it means that so part of the question is the information. So this is the condition we're given, right? So the function has to satisfy this condition here. Yeah. The question is that condition strong enough, for example, to eliminate all but say one function from working? Okay. Or is the condition maybe too strong? There's no functions that work. Yeah. There's no function that satisfies this condition. Or maybe is the condition rather weak and there's lots of functions which satisfy this condition. Okay. So this is called a functional equation. Okay. So usually when you have an equation, you have like x plus 3 equals 2 or something, right? And you want to solve for x. Yeah. Here you have an equation where you want to solve for f. Okay. But in some sense, you have infinitely many equations because you have a different equation for every different a and every different b. Okay.
How low was that last segment understood?
It's not the end of the segment.
Yeah.
Okay, so do people understand this?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I think the easiest way to understand this question, and also the easiest way to start solving this question, is to just put values for a and b. Okay, so this is for all. So whenever a condition is given for all integers a and b, like it's sort of, I guess the difficulty is that like the gem, there's a special a and b that might work really well and it's hidden amongst all of them, right? And so your kind of job is to find the a and b that would really impact your understanding the question the most. Okay. So at the beginning, you don't really know how the question works. It might be best to find the easiest examples of A and B to just get your hands dirty. So what if A was 1? So A can't be 0, okay? And B is 1, yeah? So what do you get? The condition is 1 squared plus f of 1 times f of 1, yeah, is divisible by f of 1 plus 1. See? Yeah, so maybe you can think about, so basically it's saying that 1 plus f of 1 all squared, yeah, that's what f of 1 times f of 1 is divisible by 1 plus f of 1. Okay, and the question is, so notice that there's only one unknown in this expression, is the f of 1, yeah? So the question is, if you're not comfortable with f of 1, you can think of it as x, like 1 plus x divides 1 plus x squared. So the question is, what does this tell us about x? Or what does this tell us about f of 1?
It's 0
Why?
because the 1 is that it's divided, so they don't cancel out.
I mean, it could be 0, yeah?
Oh,
That's probably not a bad contribution. So x
not bad, Christian.
could be 0, but that's only if we went by only these two conditions, right? But we know that x has to be in z plus, okay, which has no 0 in it.
Oh,
Okay, so it can't be 0.
Yeah, Martin.
unfortunate.
X could be above 0. X is above 0.
Think about stuff before you say it, yeah?
What?
Saying the obvious, Christian.
But at least we should establish the obvious. Isn't that how you solve a math equation?
The sky is blue.
So like, this is the problem I have for you now, yeah?
Christian is kidding.
I give up.
Oh, what? Someone wrote this. Who wrote this?
Who wrote that?
It was me. It was me.
Christian. That's crazy. Who wrote that?
Yeah, see, they made some mistakes here. Subbing b equals 0 is not allowed, yeah? But who?
Mystery soldier.
Show yourself now.
Alright, focus, okay? So you have basically one condition in front of you, okay? What can you deduce from this condition? 1 plus x divides 1 plus x squared, okay?
Is this guy really blue?
Christian can sneak anything. Nothing could meet him. Where's Gavin?
I don't know. P.
Oh, x could be 1, yes. So this is the first comment.
That's what I said. I said X could be 1, and then you said think before you say.
No, you didn't.
I said it could be above 0.
Yeah.
So which is 1.
No. No. No, your suffering is justified.
I'm blaming on Rihanna.
So it could be x equals 1, yeah?
Oh.
So can you open chat? Yeah, I just see that.
But can it be like other things? Like, can x equals 2? 3?
X can equal anything. X is just.
Yeah, it could be anything.
Because it divides both out.
See, this is more talking without thinking, yeah?
Yeah, Martin.
What? It can be any positive integer.
Okay, so just think about when you said x could be anything, okay?
It can be anything above 0. And
Okay, so think about that. And then when you're wrong, okay? if you're wrong,
Yeah.
just try to reconcile the two facts. Okay,
Oh,
that you said it
extra.
instantly and that it was totally wrong. Okay, try to reconcile that.
I figured out how x equal 1 is possible.
Oh wow,
I
that's
figured it out.
crazy.
Yeah, because 2 divides 2, right?
2 is not possible.
Yeah, so if you put 2 in there, you get 5. 3 does not divide 5, yeah? So immediately what
I'm
you
not
said was
that
wrong.
dumb. I know my division. 3 doesn't work. Just 4, 10.
Oh,
Isn't it really
five
1 or
works.
2?
So 5 works. That's pretty cool.
How does 5 work? Teach me.
Oh, actually, no, it doesn't work. I'm delusional.
6? 5,
No.
5. 20.
Oh no, 5 does work.
Show me.
1 plus 5 divided by 5 squared 5 squared.
Wait, is that a
Yeah.
division sign?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this means 1 plus x divides 1 plus x squared. Or that 1 plus x squared is a multiple of 1 plus x.
So is that like a symbol you use when you write could be? Like, you got the equals to, you got the not equals to, you got the what?
Hmm.
X could equal 6. Crazy.
Alright, does anyone have any ideas?
X could equal 5. X could equal
Hey,
6.
could you explain the equation to me again?
No, no, x has to be positive, okay? So the question we're looking at right now, yes? For what values of x does 1 plus x divide 1 plus x squared? So for what values of x is that when you divide this by that, you get a whole number.
Oh, okay, I get it now. You could have just said that.
So X could equal 8 equal 7. That's pretty cool.
2 isn't possible.
Yes, I think you did good with that. So you've pretty much established that x cannot be 2, it cannot be 3,
It
it cannot be
4.
4 or
It's
5.
6, 7.
It can't be 5. It
It is 5, so
can't be 5.
why not?
What? Are you
5,
stupid?
what? If X equals 5, 5 plus 1.
Does 6
That's
go
right.
into 26?
Oh! Wait.
I'm Martin successful.
I thought like, you have to like times everything inside the top bit
Oh,
by
it's not
5.
your fault. You thought
Speak-
very reasonable things.
Think before you say
No,
Martin.
but I thought it's like a fraction, right? So when you like make the bottom the same as the top, you get multiply everything inside it by 5. So then it would be
6 is
1.
impossible.
Alright, just because you have a reason doesn't mean you're like not wrong, yeah?
Well, I'm explaining my reason.
Yeah, but I don't care. Yeah.
I'm explaining to Christian, so.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
but I helped you.
I like people who think about things, yeah. Just no, I'll spoil this in 2 minutes. So yeah, so we know it's not possible.
I'll carry you.
Oh, not my book.
Can I have some spare paper? I've tried all the way up to 11. Have a pen, please. Oh. 12.
Ah, so Rihanna has a conjecture that only x equals 1. Presumably because you tried a lot of different numbers.
Let's try a random number. 400.
I tried up to 12 now.
13 doesn't work. 14 doesn't work either. 15 doesn't work either.
I don't think there's another one.
What makes you say? It could be 7,000.
Okay, so one thing is, you know that 1 plus x, right? It divides x plus x squared. Is that
Yes.
obvious?
Wait, do we only have to do the prime numbers? Because like,
No. Okay, so 1 plus x divides x plus x squared. Is that obvious?
yeah.
Wait, right. It's because x equals 1. Like, how are we testing our first possibility?
Because x times x plus 1 obviously is divisible by x plus 1. This is equal to that, yeah?
Oh, wow. That's pretty.
Yeah, so if this is a multiple of x 1 plus x, right? And this is a multiple of 1 plus x, yeah? Then their difference is also a multiple of 1 plus x. You see? So this is also a multiple of 1 plus x. But what is the difference? The difference is just x minus 1. No. So 1 plus x divides x minus 1. Yeah? I mean, which x's divide x minus 1? 1 plus x divides x minus 1. Well, you can even go further, right? Because 1 plus x obviously divides 1 plus x, right? So if you take the difference, then 1 plus x divides 2. Okay? But the only things that divide 2 are 1 and 2. Or negative 1 and negative 2. Yeah? But x is positive, so it's either x equals 0 or x equals 1. You know? So this proves that x has to be 1. Okay, so Rihanna's solution is the only solution. So f
I
of 1
contributed as well.
equals 1. Yes, you did contribute.
You could have just said it was just 1.
Yeah. You contributed and you also detracted.
Well, what do you mean detract?
Stuff like, what do you mean detract? When it's self-evident.
Where's
Okay.
Gavin? Where's Ben?
Yeah, these are all very good questions, but I have no answers for. I don't know what Gavin is. I don't know what Finn is.
Why are they always absent? Well, not Finn. Yeah.
Wait, this is Finn's first absence, I think, and Gavin's second absence.
I think this is Gavin's third absence.
Second.
Well, so what happened to Jun?
Oh yeah, what happened to June?
Did he stop? Did he quit?
I think he started on. He went to Monday and Wednesdays.
Oh. Well, he goes on Wednesdays now.
Okay, now back to this.
Oh,
So
wait,
can you go on
Jun-
mute for a second? I got discombobulating thing.
No, it's alright. You guys just be quiet for a second, okay? It's amazing how now that I've opened the door for you to think about this question, instead of taking advantage of that, you're back to asking irrelevant questions, yeah? And I guess I only answered them because the questions were actually relevant to me, but not to the class. Alright, so we deduced that whatever function it is, okay, the function has to take 1 and send it to 1, yeah? So we deduced that you can't send 1 somewhere else for this function to work. Okay, so that was quite a good bit of progress, okay? So now you might wonder what happens for other values. You know, what should we try? A equals what? And B equals what?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it might be nice to keep one of them as 1 and you might even decide to set it later. Like you have b equals 1 and a equals... Okay, so then the condition is, so a squared plus f of a of b. So it's 1 plus, so f of 1 is just 1. So this is divisible by f of a plus b, so it's 1 plus b. Yeah, and if you swap it the other way around, you get a squared plus f of a is divisible by, what was it? F of a plus b. So f of a plus 1. Okay. Yeah, so obviously if you set a or b equals 1 in the other one, it won't give you anything new, right? So, I don't know, you could try setting equal 2. So this one, it looks like it's hard to deduce something from this one. Yeah. Okay, so for you guys, maybe it's good to just put the number 2 in there, okay? So if I put a equals 2, b equals 2 here, I get 3 divides 1 plus f of 2, okay? And there I get f of 2 plus 1 divides 2 squared plus f of 2. Do you understand what I'm doing?
Yes.
So maybe we can try to figure out what f of 2 is. Okay.
Oh.
And it's more likely we'll find it from this thing than from this thing, okay?
No, is it 26 or 24?
What is?
You date.
What are you, disabled? Can you like focus on the question?
Yeah, I was. So I'm falling asleep. Can I have sugar?
No.
It's like a tablespoon.
Can you just answer no in your head without me saying no? It's kind of obvious no, yes?
Can I have a drink of barbecue sauce?
The people who get things done, they're the ones who get rewarded with stuff, yeah? It's not like
I'm getting things done. I'm like I contributed to the question.
Alright, just stop
I'm-
talking, okay?
I'm contributing more than Gavin.
Yes, but that's not a very high bar, is it? He's not here.
You just insult Gavin. I'm achieving more than what Finn would do.
Actually, I think even Finn's not here, he's still doing more than you, okay?
Pardon? It's not my fault that I'm in core one. Oh, what's that shit?
Oh, stop talking.
Oh. Don't make-
What do you mean there? Who's there? I think it is you.
Stop talking.
Identify as dream. See dream there.
Okay, so this is an exercise even in just using the same idea to get something again, you know, like because it's not necessarily easy to come up with ideas, but once you have one, like you might as well see if that idea works again, right?
Hmm.
So does anyone know how to?
Not really.
No. So look, this is the idea here. You have f of 2 plus 1 divides 4 plus f of 2, yeah? Okay. But f of 2 plus 1 obviously divides 1 plus f of 2, right? So this together means that f of 2 plus 1 divides 3. You see that?
How do we know f of 2 plus 1 divides f of 2 plus 4?
Well, that's this condition here. So you set a equals 2 and b equals 1 in the original condition. No? So if you set b equals 1, sorry, b equals, yeah, so b equals 1, you get f of, and a equals 2, you get f of 2 plus 1 divides 4 plus f of 2, yeah? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You put a equals 2 and b equals 1, yeah? And you get f of 2 plus 1 divides 3, yeah?
Wait, that means
So what does that mean?
1 plus f on 2 and 4 plus f on 2 and 3. They're all multiples of f on 2 plus 1.
Yes, but I mean there's one condition that's kind of the most telling out of all those conditions, yeah? Like the goal is to find f of 2, yeah?
Oh, then f on, wait, no.
That beanbag is for sitters, not quitters.
I'm not even halfway yet.
Sit back on the
I
chair here.
told you I ran out of energy.
It's not about energy. You can metabolize some of that excess flab.
I didn't sleep over today. Tired after that.
Oh, that's such a like spoiled, entitled answer, isn't it? It's like I had to yell at my mom to do all the stuff for me and my voice is tired. What's wrong with you?
Well, like I slept late. Is that my fault?
Yes, basically, like The answer to is that my fault is just yes. Okay, it doesn't even matter what you're saying.
Okay, Obama didn't get elected. Is that my fault?
Yeah.
If it has anything to do with you, then the answer is yes. Okay, but I don't think that has anything to do with you. All right, stop. Stop your weak imagination trying to think of some random question to ask. All right.
Recently it rained at school the other day.
I guess I've stalled for people enough time to tell me what f of 2 is.
Oh no.
Rihanna, surely.
Rihanna's not older
See,
now.
look at Rihanna. Just.
But how do you know that Rihanna's
She's saying
not
it's
mad?
2.
Like, she never talks, or should I say, he never talks in
Oh my god.
Channel. Like,
Yeah, but I mean,
So
you're assuming that she is.
hmm?
All right, stop.
There's
There
always
is no
that
point
possibility.
to this dialogue, you see, because there's no like.
Ooh, chat bubble 1.
People only engage in debates with people who like think it's like a worthy debate. Yeah, there's no
Ooh.
worthiness to what you're saying.
That's what a boy would say. Okay, if I said, oh, I'm a girl, would that sound suspicious?
Oh my god.
Of course, she's a girl.
How do you know that?
Look, if you're a good student, I might continue this conversation, okay, with some arguments.
Okay, then do it.
Okay, so f of 2 equals 2. That's a good suggestion. Now, how did you come up with that? Silence indeed. My brain told me. Okay.
Dang, that's crazy.
I open chat, I didn't see what
Okay,
it
so
says.
maybe some things happen subconsciously. I do agree there is a subconscious thing. You know, when Ramanujan was asked
Yo, that's
How-
a power
You
name.
just say
how he understood certain things about maths, he said that this Indian goddess came to him in a dream. Okay, that was like his standard answer. It wasn't like a random one-off either. Okay,
Do you
so
know who Helen Keller is? Oh.
okay, so f of 2 plus 1 divides 3. Okay, there's only two things which divide 3. You understand? Yeah, there's only two positive numbers which divide 3. Yeah. So 3 has 1 and 3 as divisors. Yeah. So f of 2 plus 1 is equal to either 1 or 3. You see?
And 2 is just not.
2 does not divide 3.
And f of 2 can't be 0 because integer.
F of 2 can't be 0. So f of 2 plus 1 can't be 1. Yeah. So that means f of 2 has to equal 2.
Oh, that's crazy. So I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah. See, when you start to understand this, you actually start to appreciate it as well. Okay. I have never in my life come across anyone who's understood maths and found it dull. Okay.
It's kind of dull.
But you've never understood maths.
What? How do you know that?
Oh, it's quite obvious.
Maybe you're the person who doesn't understand math. Because
Yes.
okay, let me give you, for example,
So I think it's
And
quite
Albert
bold to say that
Einstein
Have a seat.
he understands
And a
the
dumb
large
person.
concepts.
Oh my gosh. Uh,
So you know what a wise man once said?
Shut up.
I don't shut up. I grow up. Look at you.
Oh my
I
gosh, you
grow
guys are so annoying. This is
This
why Saturday is an online class, but you guys have been granted some kind of leniency to show up here, yes?
up. Yeah.
That's
Because I'm
crazy.
dumb.
They're assuming you didn't know anything. You just gonna think that.
Pardon?
I'm now nervous about letting Daniel come here and meeting you. You might be
Daniel's coming.
influenced
coming.
negatively by your presence.
So can Daniel come?
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's a brain.
Daniel, that's crazy. Why did you come over here?
No, guys, just focus on the question, okay? Look at this.
Daniel, I'll give you my U-box.
Stop wasting time.
Sir,
Stop asking.
let me explain the stages
No, I don't
of
care.
Big Bang.
No,
First,
no,
I
no,
sit
no.
there,
Look,
I go to the focusing.
this is like, what's the like? This is non-consensual listening. Like, I don't want to listen to you, and you're forcing me to.
Then I go to the sleeping bean bag. You get it? And those are like the knockoff bean
And then you
bags.
wake
Okay,
up
but
and go
also this in here was also a little bit of a test, right? Were you waiting for me to settle these guys down and start the next thing, or were you
You're
guys
welcome.
proactively investigating FF3, right?
Yeah, guys.
You're welcome.
We were in
No,
on
no,
the
no,
act.
no, no, you don't get a yeah,
Like,
guys.
so-
Okay, you're like 10 times worse than them.
So
All right.
we were in on the act.
Oh,
No, 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 guys, you don't get to worry about other people. Okay,
can you poll?
worry about yourselves.
Can you poll?
Paul, what?
It's like during the last segment.
So who was proactively figuring out what FF3 was?
Me.
Stop talking.
Oh, but you just asked the question and I answered.
I was asking you to the other people.
Discrimination picture.
No, no, no.
Dumb.
Discrimination is kind of
This is social
happens.
disparity.
What?
Social disparity.
No, this is absolute justified behavior.
Justified.
You know, a wise man, Jesus, once said that everyone will be forgiven.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Rihanna's now getting a bit ahead of herself, saying, "Would it just be 3?" Okay, are we gonna stop her in her tracks, or are we realizing that she's right?
Who?
I
said
think
that?
that's wrong.
Rihanna's saying f of 3
Of
equals
course,
3.
old man says it.
That could be true, right? Because it's more plus one.
Okay, so what conditions are we solving for here?
Just function.
We're doing 3 plus no. We're doing f on 3 plus 1 and 9 plus f on 3. That's
Okay. So
a
you're putting
function.
3. So you're putting 3 as A, and 1 as B, yeah? So 1 plus f of A, 3, divides 9 plus f of 3, yeah?
How does that work?
Uh-huh.
And then it's 1 plus b, which is 1 plus 3,
Stop.
divisible by 1 plus f3.
I want to go on the whiteboard. Can I go on the whiteboard?
No, you're being particularly bad. Sit here.
Why me? Why can't it be mine?
Because he's already sitting there. You're just...
Yes,
Alright.
sit down. I'm going on the whiteboard.
There is no juice for you.
So what's an identity function?
Yeah, identity functions, it sends everything back to itself. So f of 1 equals 1, f of 2 equals 2, f of 3 equals 3.
Oh.
So there's a conjecture f is the identity function. Okay?
I'm sorry.
So 1 plus f of 3 also divides 8. What? 8.
I think it is an identity function. So I believe it's an identity function.
I believe what Marvin says.
With reason.
With reason.
Wait, something happened here. How do we get 1 plus f of 3 equals... 1 plus f of 3 equals... 1 plus f of 3 divides 8. How do we get that?
What is your division sign? Oh my god.
Wait, what do you mean by how do we get that?
Oh, I mean, it sounds like we're going to get something a bit strange out of this. What is the conclusion of this?
Didn't we understand like f3 equals 3? No?
So would f of 3 equal 3 work? Yeah, so 4 would divide 8, yeah? That's very... Okay, but from this, what could f of 3 be? Could it be 7?
So there's a balloon inside the window.
So here, f of 3, so there's also divisors of 8, right? 1, 2, 4, 8. So from here, f of 3 could equal
So this is balloon.
1, 3, or 7. Yeah, so how do we know it's not 1 or 7?
I hope that balloons are biodegradable. It'd be better for the environment than someone let it go.
A little kid just let go.
So are you gonna catch that balloon?
So the little kid down there just let go of a balloon.
Why did you let go of it?
He's superhuman.
Yeah, so the question is, why can't f of 3 be 1 or 7?
Are you using that condition? 1 plus f of 3.
I only answer questions which, like, see, if you're looking at the balloon and now you ask this question, I just totally don't care about you. Yeah?
What?
So
So yeah, there's something on the shirt right there. It's like a tiny bit of gravy.
Hey, this really reminds me of this small things amuse small minds. Have you heard of that?
What if I'm looking at a fat man?
You could be a fat man with a really small mind, which is even more disturbing, really.
So I'm big in spirit. I'm a small person.
Ugh,
So if you give me a juice box, it's like my chug jug in form.
stop talking, okay? Alright, hopefully people online are trying to proactively do the next steps in the question. So does anyone have an answer for me? Why is it not 1 or 7?
Because.
Shh, stop talking.
Just about to explain it. It's because I'm dumb, isn't it?
So it's like this functions and identity function.
Stop talking. Okay.
Does it not align with the function?
Question? You need a line, bro. The stars align.
Okay, so remember there was another condition. So it wasn't just a equals 3, b equals 1. You could also have a equals 1 and b equals 3, right? So that might
Yeah.
help. So if b was 3, you'd have 3... Wait, what was I saying? Yeah, so instead of a equals 3, you could have b equals 3. Yeah, so 3 plus f of a divides a squared plus f of a. Yeah? Yeah, and if oh wait, it's times f of 3 here. Because b is there. Okay, if you set a equals 1, you get that 4 divides 1 plus f of 3. Yeah? So that completes the picture, right? If 1 plus f of 3 divides 8 and 4 divides 1 plus f of 3, then 1 plus f of 3 has to be either 4 or 8, right? See that? So it can't be f of 3 can't be 1, you know?
Is it FA times F3?
Yeah, I made I made a equals 1, right? So then f of a becomes 1. So then at this point, I guess f of 3 could still be equal to 3 or 7. So why can't it equal 7? So the condition we have is that a squared, so it's f of a plus b divides f a squared plus f of a times f of b. Okay, so we're not totally out of resources yet. Don't forget we also have f of 2 on our side, yeah? So just because we can't do it with 3 and 1 doesn't mean we can't do it with 3 and 2, yeah? So we have 2 as well. So we might want to put 2 for b, say. So f of 3, a is 3 and 2 is b, divides 9 plus 2f of 3. Yeah. So this means actually f of 3 plus 2 divides 5. Okay. So actually f of 3 then has to equal 3. Okay. So basically, actually, it's kind of funny. Like you have infinite opportunities to understand how this works. Because if you don't understand how this works, well, you can assume it works and then figure out how f of 4 works. Yeah. And you can keep doing it until you figured it out. Okay. And when you figured it out, then you might want a nice way to express it all in one go. Okay. But until then, you need to figure it out. So, for this conjecture to be true, we need f of 4 equals 4, f of 5 equals 5, f of 6 equals 6. And don't worry about things like how am I going to write this in the end. Things which happen at the end, worry about at the end, okay? It's too much to ask of you to be able to plan out your entire solution before you even start investigating the question, okay? So just take it one step at a time, and when you get to it, you get to it. So basically, is this true or not? And if it is true, do you understand what's going on? If not, ask the next one, is this true or not? Do you understand what's going on? If it's true but you don't understand going on, let's keep going, yeah? So one thing you might want to see is, does the identity function actually work? Okay. So if anyone answers these questions, let me know. So once again, I'll give you 2 minutes. I'll put the condition up here again. So it's f of a plus b divides f of a squared plus f of a, f of b. What?
F identity.
Oh yeah, how do you know?
Because I tested it with A plus 1 and B plus 2.
No, that's not enough, okay? So if you want to test if the identity works, you let F be the identity, okay?
Oh,
So what is F of A? Well, if the identity is F, then F of A is just A,
yeah.
okay? So the question is, does A plus B divide A squared plus
AB. A plus
AB, yeah? Is this true or not?
Mm, so I don't think it's true then. Because I read it as like a fraction, and I said A squared plus AB is over A plus B. And then you can divide both sides by A. A plus B is divided. I mean, B is divided into A plus B. And that's not true.
I feel like you don't understand how fractions work, okay?
I'm unfortunate. And
Alright, so I'm kind of looking for someone to give me like a proof of why f of 4 equals 4 if it's true, and to explain why f equals the identity works, okay? Obviously the bar will be set higher as we go 5, 6, 7, because we're kind of expecting to notice something at some point. Does anyone actually have any ideas, or are people holding back? This is
A
okay. So we have something for f of 4. F of 4 plus 1 divides 16 plus 4. Okay, so basically we use this expression and we let a and b be 4, okay? Or alternate between a and b being 4, and we let the other one be like 1, 2, or 3, right? Because those are the ones we already know. So if a is 4, b equals 1, yeah, then you have f of 4 plus 1 divides 16 plus f of 4. Okay, so that forces f of 4 plus 1 to divide 15, okay? Which forces f of 4 to equal possibly, so 3 minus 1, 5 minus 1, 15 minus 1, you know?
So where do you get the 15 from?
16 minus 1. So you failed to appreciate that this step, which has occurred in every argument so far. Okay. So that doesn't do it completely, right? So you might want to try a equals 4 and b equals 2. Then you get f of 4 plus 2 divides 16 plus 2f of 4. Okay, but obviously 2f of 4 plus 4 is a multiple of 2 plus f of 4. Okay, so f of 4 plus 2, if you times it by 2, you get 2f of 4 plus 4, right? So you can subtract this from that to get 12. So f of 4 plus 2 divides 12. So, so I guess 12 has quite a few divisors as well. So the ones that are bigger than 2 are 3, 4. We might as well just try the ones that we have here. Maybe save some time. So it's 4, 6, or 16, right? So we have f of 4 equals 2, or 4 works, yeah? The 2 plus 2 is 4, which divides 12, and 4 plus 2 is 6, which divides 12. Okay, and then there's another condition along the same lines, is f of 4 plus 3 divides 16 plus 3f of 3. And here, 3 times 3 is 9, so this thing times 3 minus from this thing is f of 4 plus 3 divides 7. Okay, now only the 4 works, yeah, because 5 doesn't divide 7. So f of 4 equals 4. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. We haven't even used the other direction of the condition. We haven't used a equals something less than 4 and b equals 4. So if that holds, it'll suggest that the overall proof could be done without using the other side as well. So this proves f of 4 equals 4. Does the identity work? Okay, look at this. What's a squared plus ab? Yeah, that's equal to a times a plus b. Yeah, which means that a plus b divides it, right? Because it's a multiple of a plus b. So it is true. Okay, so this, what's called a functional equation, we have at least one solution. F is the identity, is at least one of the solutions. Okay, so we need to show if there's any more solutions, okay, or if f equals the identity is the only solution. Okay, so far it's the only function that's working, you know. Okay, so every one thing is a test of your understanding. Does it work for f of 5? So I think you should more strongly believe that f of 5 should be equal to 5 at some point, and if you don't, then I guess you haven't quite understood what's going on with the other ones. So every time you have it, there's a chance to understand. So does f of 5 equals 5? And can we see it in a way that tells us that f of 6 equals 6 and other stuff like that? Or do we need to keep going? Okay. So, Daniel, are you with us?
Yes.
Does it make sense what we're doing?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so if there's anything you could ask or talk about. So, you haven't said too much, so we're kind of missing some of your comments, yeah? And some of these other guys are saying a bit too much. Maybe to fill the silence.
Tragic.
Okay, Rihanna, how's it going? Stefan?
Dang, if only Gavin was here.
I'm getting it so far.
Okay, good.
If collect A plus B, so that made sense to me. The
Yeah, so a squared
factorization.
plus ab is a multiple of a plus b, yeah.
Yeah, so like you'll be able to, so all of that would be divisible by A plus B.
Yeah, so f equals identity working is equivalent to a plus b divides a squared plus ab. And we know that a plus b does divide a squared plus ab, so the identity does work. Okay? And what we're doing is that we're kind of showing identity is the only thing that works because we're showing the function has to send 1 to 1, it has to send 2 to 2, it has to send 3 to 3, it has to send 4 to 4. Okay? Does it have to send 5 to 5? So if you want to understand, you should try your understanding on the next one, right? F of 5 equals 5. How would you show it? So I mean, it's getting a little bit harder each time because the numbers are getting bigger, but it certainly shouldn't be getting harder faster than you're understanding the problem. You see from here?
Yeah. So it's halfway.
Running out of energy, so.
Oh. I'm sure everyone else is fine.
Alright, let me keep going. So I guess this is a good problem because it kind of repeats the same thing over and over again. It'll kind of force you to understand what's going on. So if you have a equals 5, yeah? Then the condition you get is f of 5 plus b divides 25 plus f of a, and This will be f of b, but really it's going to be b because we know we're going to sub in values that are lower than. So say b equals 1, yeah? Five plus 1 divides 25 plus f of 5. Let's see, I'm kind of curious now. What if I jump straight to b equals 4? Get f of 5. Wait, I know you can't be seeing it now because the beanbag is over your head. Is he literally crawling under a beanbag and dying?
So it is natural habitat in a dark basement.
Okay.
Playing Valorant in his mom's basement.
If only he was better behaved, he would get some juice and all the things he wanted. And now he's dead on my carpet.
So you should grab his reboot card.
Let's see, so f of 5 plus 4 divides 25 plus 4 f of 5.
You're a bad Christian. Christian could. You know.
Actually, I might have done the wrong thing a bit earlier here. I feel like I did something wrong here. F of 2 divides that. Okay, maybe not. Yeah, so f of 5 divides 25 minus 16. So f of 5 plus 1 divides 24. F of 5 plus 4 divides 9. So this says f of 5 plus 4 divides 9. Okay, so there's not many divisors of 9 which are bigger than 4. Okay, so the only one I think is 9. You know, this forces f of 5 to be equal to 5. Okay, I mean I can keep going. It says how far is it we can go before people understand what's going on. So we have f of 5 equals 5. So what about a equals 6? F of 6 plus b, and we're gonna assume b is less than 6. Okay, so it's gonna send f is gonna send it to itself times b. So obviously f of 6 plus b divides f, so this is 6 and this is 6 squared, I guess. F of 6 times b plus b squared. So then you get f of 6 divides 6 squared minus b squared. F of 6 plus b. So for example, if b equals 1, get f of 6 plus 1 divides 6 squared minus 1, which is 35. 5 times 7. That doesn't leave you that many options.
Oh,
It's a power of 2. You can do a difference of 2 squares here. 3 times 12, 9. It's like a power of 3. F of 6 plus 4 divides 6 squared minus 4 squared, which is 2 times 10. And lastly, f of 6 plus 5 divides 6 squared minus 5 squared, which is 11. Christian. Sit up. Can you hear me at least?
let's get
You sit on the couch or something.
Christian.
Okay, so the 11 condition is actually good to deal with because, well, it's a prime, right? So basically it means f of 6 plus 5 equals 11, which means f of 6 equals 6.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So are people following so far? That was the easy stuff.
Yes, I understood that.
Okay, so
You should do another poll.
alright, so just remember, it's not all just about listening. If you get way ahead and you're just waiting, you can actually try and do stuff yourself. Yeah, f of 7 equals 7. Yeah, so how can we do this more generally? Well, one thing we noticed. Well, let's just keep going. Yeah, how about this? So I have f of a plus b divides a squared plus f of a, f of b. Okay. Question: Why is the beanbag lying on top of you? Can't you lie on top of the beanbag? No, okay, sleep is encouraged because if you're that sleep deprived, you should just be sleeping anyway.
Hey Christian, what did you do last night?
Okay. So f of a plus b. So if we do f of 7 plus something less than 7, we get 7 squared plus f of 7 times b. And get f of 7 plus b divides 7 squared minus b squared. So let me just refresh.
That's Christian sleeping.
It's alright, at least he's breathing.
I think we had to
Sometimes the beanbag will block the airways and it's completely covering the person. Don't disturb him. If you disturb him, I will be very annoyed.
Maybe we should put it all.
No, I am not interested in him being awake.
No, just like for the air.
No, he's obviously breathing. Alright. Why is it still not loading?
So there's too many tabs open.
Has nothing to do with that.
I think it does.
You think a lot of things which are wrong.
I'm 90% sure I'm right this time.
You're even wrong about the 90%.
So if it's true, how many gigs of RAM does a little laptop have?
No, I guess while you're waiting for the diagram to load, you can do yourselves f of 7 equals 7.
F7.
Is my internet? Oh, it's back.
No, it's back. So I found a blueberry.
Okay, so
So there's a blueberry here.
this is 7 squared minus b squared. So for example, if b equals 6, f of 7 plus 6 divides 7 squared minus 6 squared. But 7 squared minus 6 squared is just 7 minus 6 times 7 plus 6. So it's just 13. Okay, which is quite crazy because that means f of 7 equals 7.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so a crazy thing is that we've kind of only been using the last one, but we're not going to get prime numbers all the time, so that's a luxury we're not going to always have. So if you have f of 8 plus b divides 8 squared plus f of 8 times b, then f of 8 plus b divides 8 squared minus b squared. And if b equals 7, then f of 8 plus 7 divides 15. Okay, so yeah, it's quite a bit bigger than all the small factors. So this also gives you f of 8 equals 8. So obviously, you can obviously just keep going doing this until you get a better understanding, but I guess if you want to look at it in general, divides a squared plus f of ab. Okay, and this is for some b is less than a, and we're assuming we know everything is the identity until a. So maybe we can do something like b is a minus 1, you know? Divides a squared plus f of a times a minus 1. So then f of a plus a minus 1, so this is if we let b equals a minus 1, you know, is a squared minus a minus 1 squared. What is a squared minus a minus 1 squared? Well, it's 2a minus 1. Okay, so we have f of a plus a minus 1 divides 2a minus 1. That makes sense?
So that means if A equals A, I mean divide with A.
So you all want to say f of a equals a, yeah?
Yeah.
But why?
Because you just isolate F of A.
So the question is, does this condition here give you this condition here?
Yes.
Okay. So you answered too quick, yeah? Like, I don't care even if you're right. When you answered that quick, for me, you're wrong.
Because I did the work now.
No, you didn't. You don't think about things way nearly enough, and you don't learn from the mistakes you make.
Okay.
Okay, so one thing you might have noticed, which is good, is that this is possible, yeah? So did you try f of, you just subbed in a for f of a, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get 2a minus 1 divides at 2a minus 1, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is definitely a possible outcome of this argument, yeah?
But it's not the condition.
It might not be the only outcome, yeah? So we want to understand why it's the only outcome, or if it's inconclusive, okay? So inconclusive would mean if you find a value of a for which the assumption is true, but the conclusion is false, you know? Wait, did he say he had a sleepover yesterday or today?
Yesterday.
Oh, actually, I'm gonna probably link one of these videos on sleep, the importance of sleep.
She was probably gaming all night. She likes to game. He's not good at it. He's very trashy.
Alright, does anyone see what's happening here?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll link you a video on how sleeping is important. Okay, can people answer me in turn? Like, do you understand what we're trying to do here? Daniel? Okay, Stefan, so we want to find out what f of a is, yeah? And we have the condition that f of a plus a minus 1 divides 2a minus 1, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we want to find x. This is x, right?
Yep.
And so possibly x equals a, right? But the question is, can we conclude definitively that x is a? It can't be anything else. So instead of using that notation, we have x plus a minus 1 divides 2a minus 1. Does this mean x equals a? Alright, I'll give you 5 minutes to think about this, okay? Alright, 4 minutes now. Okay, so to say no in sort of the ideal setting would be to find an example of an x and an a for which the condition is true but the conclusion is false, okay? And to say that it does mean it, you have to prove it.
I say no. So I agree with Stefan today.
2 minutes. Don't let that drip on the table.
Oh.
So remember x is positive, yeah? Right, does Rihanna understand the question? Daniel?
No, I'm still trying to figure it out. Mm.
Do you understand what the question is asking?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. Give you a couple more minutes. If you want more time before the spoiler, let me know. I don't like spoiling answers, but sometimes...
So I think Rihanna's AFK again.
No, Rihanna's not AFK. Yeah, see, Rihanna's a good student.
Fallen asleep by Christian.
Yeah. he's he's away from his consciousness.
Are you dissing Sleeping Beauty?
Please, just keep it down. We might let us not wake the beast.
So we're not gonna wake the beast up, okay?
Actually, we've got to figure out what's like a good power nap time because, you know. All right. So, I think it's time. Okay, so look at this thing. Look at this number here. X plus A minus 1, yeah? Okay, does anyone want more time? I should ask this question out of respect. Do you want the spoiler? Yes or no? Yes for you want the spoiler? No for you want more time.
Dang, that's crazy.
Okay, so there's 2 no's, 1 yes. I'll check on you every 5 minutes then. Okay.
So
Yeah.
the question is asking us to find the example where the condition x equals a doesn't work, right?
No, I'm asking you, does it work? And if your answer is no, then you have to find an X and an A, which doesn't work. Yeah?
Oh, so it is what I just said. But it isn't no.
I haven't said it was no.
No, like, so if I said it was no, then I have to find an example where x
Yes.
does not equal a. Oh,
Yes. Which is weird because you're kind of meant to say, you're meant to find the example before you say it's no, right? But
yeah, but I already did that. I don't know why everyone else is taking so long. I thought I was like missing something.
no, you are missing something.
But I think I get the main idea.
So your quickness is not it's not an advantage that you have. It's a weakness.
I think better ping is a great strength. So
Not?
better ping is a great strength.
Hmm.
Ah. So do you have tissues?
Keep it down. Someone's sleeping.
Oh, open chapter. Oh, yes.
Oh. Oh. Okay, it looks like I'm revealing at 5:20 no matter what. I think Stefan's basically got it.
Oh.
Oh, Stefan, did you get those files I sent you?
Oh yeah, I got them.
Oh,
It's crazy.
okay, last minute. Okay, the way Stefan wrote it might be easier to understand. Okay, so you have like x plus y, right? And you want to say that divides 2y. Yeah? Okay. But like the point is x plus y is bigger than y, right? The only factors of 2y which are bigger than y or equal to y is just y and 2y. That makes sense?
Wait, doesn't 2y have to be bigger than x y because you're dividing into it?
You didn't hear what I said. So the only factors which are bigger than y of 2y is 2y itself. Right? Because like the factors for them to divide evenly into a number, the quotient has to be an integer, right? So it has to be like each factor has to be like half of the number, a third of the number, a quarter of the number. It can't be more than half the number. Okay? So this means that x plus y equals y or 2y. Okay, but since x is bigger than 0, then x plus y has to equal y, 2y. That makes sense? So there's no factors past halfway. You understand what I'm saying? So look, you have a number like 56, yeah? There's no factors bigger than 28 except for 56, right?
Oh yeah.
Because you need to times the factor by something to get 56.
Yeah.
So, and the smallest thing you can times is 2, right? So it has to be like 28 times 2. You can't get like 29 times like 1 point something, you know what I mean?
It doesn't work.
Yeah. So you can, so between 2 and 1, there's no integers, right? So the smallest it can be is 28 times 2, and then it's 56 times 1, yeah? Yeah. Okay, so you look at back at this. So this number here is bigger than a minus 1, yeah? It's bigger than a minus 1. And a minus 1 is bigger than half of 2a minus 1, yeah?
Yeah.
Because 2a minus 1, halfway is like a minus half, yeah?
Amen.
So a minus 1 is basically the halfway point of 2a minus 2a minus 1 is odd, so you don't actually have halfway, right? It really just it's a third actually, because if an odd number, the biggest it can be is a third even, right?
So can I go to the toilet?
It's such a bad time.
Okay.
Why didn't you wait to the end? So this is like a very big tell, yeah? Every time someone asks to go to the toilet before it's finished, it means you didn't understand anything.
It's
Mhm.
also it was just the juice.
Yeah, and also someone who says they want to go to the toilet, the moment the impulse hits their brain is like it shows you have like no discipline whatsoever. Does that make sense? Like you have no sense of timing.
But no.
Okay, so therefore x plus a minus 1 has to equal 2a minus 1. Yeah? Which means that x has to equal a. The answer was yes. Yeah, so actually, if you want to write up the whole problem, it's actually doesn't take too long, okay? So maybe this is a good lesson in induction. So the problem is f of a plus b divides a squared plus f of a f of b. So for all a, b in z plus, and then we want f z plus to z plus. So we show that so claim f equals identity is the only solution it is also a solution. So f is a solution if and only if f is the identity. Okay. So how would we write this up? Well, there's two cases to show. Yeah. The first is f equals identity works. Okay, so that amounts to showing that a plus b divides a squared plus ab, which it does. Yeah. Okay, and then we want to show no other solutions work. Yeah. So we want to show that only so only f equals the identity could work, and we do it by induction. Okay, so what does f equals the identity mean? It means f equals n, f of n equals n for all n in z plus, right? So induction is actually in your high school syllabus. Okay, it's just you won't get to learn that until it's like extension 1 syllabus.
So that's like a long time.
Yeah, but if you don't prepare for it, you'll never be able to learn it. So, yeah. So for someone like you in your school, they'll kind of just screw you around until you probably have no chance to learn it when you're in year 12.
Induction, just for shortening it, right?
Okay, so so induction is a good way to prove. So we're trying to prove by mathematical induction. So mathematical induction is a way of proving statements where, see, it's really like a string of statements, right? It's like f of 1 equals 1, f of 2 equals 2. It's statements of the form where there's an n in the statement, and the n ranges from natural numbers or counting numbers. Okay, so it works in a very sort of basic way. So you're kind of proving by counting. So you prove the lowest case is true, okay, and then you prove the truth of the statement is preserved by counting. Okay, so then you can actually, for anything you want to know, like if it's true for 100, then you can basically start from 1 and count all the way up to 100, and then you know it's true for 100. Okay, so in that way you know it's true for anything. So this is how it works. So base case. So you take the lowest number for which the statement you want to be true for. So here it's n equals 1, right? So we want to show that f of 1 equals 1. Yeah? Okay, but we can do that pretty easily, right? Because we had a equals b equals 1. We get f of 1 plus 1 divides 1 squared plus f of 1 squared, right? And then we showed that f of 1 plus 1 divides f of 1 plus f of 1 squared. So it divides f of 1 minus 1, right? So therefore we had f of 1 plus 1 divides 2, right? And therefore f of 1 equals 1. Okay, so we've done that. That's the base case, yeah? So 2, induction hypothesis. So this is kind of like induction step. So the induction hypothesis, it's just saying that you assume it's true for all the ones you've already proved, right? So you assume f of k equals k. Okay, for some k. Okay, so in this case, all the k's for which this assumption actually holds is just 1 so far. Yeah, k is allowed to be 1 so far because f of k1 equals 1. Okay. So induction step. So induction step is really just to prove that the next case is true. Okay. So the overall induction step, it really includes the induction hypothesis. You're really proving that f of k equals k implies f of k plus 1 equals k plus 1. It's really one go, but for some reason your school kind of will break it up into 2 steps because they want to award a mark for each. Okay. So how do we prove this? Well, you can set A equals k plus 1 and B equals k. Okay. And then you get f of k plus 1 plus k divides k plus 1 squared plus f of k plus 1 k. Alright? That's what we were doing before with the b and the a, right? And now we note that f of k plus 1 plus k also divides f of, so if we times the same thing by just k, it divides k squared plus that. So overall, f of k plus 1. So I'm not teaching you anything new here, I'm just rewriting what we've already done. So it divides k plus 1 squared minus k squared. And therefore, f of k plus 1 plus k divides. So the difference of 2 squares gives you that this is 2k plus 1, right? Okay. So, but f of k plus 1 plus k is greater than 2k plus 1 on 3, right? That's obvious. Yeah. Therefore, f of k plus 1 plus k equals 2k plus 1. Is the only factor it could be, right? So that's the induction step. So therefore, so this is like the conclusion. Therefore, f of n equals n for all n plus by induction. Okay, so that question is finished. So the write-up was actually not that long, right? This would fit all in one page, see? It would fit into one page. Okay, do people understand that? Maybe in some sense you can answer this at the same time.
What?
Yeah, I guarantee if you found it, if you understood it, you'll find it enjoyable or interesting, okay? So, okay, so maybe we can look at a little bit of stats on this question. So one thing that's annoying is the stats for Australia is missing for 2019, okay?
That's crazy.
So for 2019, we can't find the stats.
Wasn't it 2020?
This is 2019. Okay, well we can look at other countries. Anyone want to nominate a country? Can you not and like as if I care about your opinion so much? Please just think. Russia. Okay. I like that. Russia.
Should we go to
Ooh.
Morocco next?
Hold on. Does Russia maybe Russia doesn't enter in the Asia Pacific?
It does, sir.
Where?
Next to Republic of Korea.
Oh, it is. Good. Tajikistan. Okay, so 2019. So everyone in the Russian team got that question correct. What was the cutoffs? So the average was 11.6. So basically, on average, people got the first question right. It's worth 7 points. Standard deviation is 7. So if you got 10 points, if you got one question a bit, you get bronze. 2 questions is silver. A little bit less than 3 questions is gold. Oh, Tajikistan. Yeah, okay. Where is Tajikistan? Oh, Tajikistan sucks. Oh wait, hold on. That's not it. That's not the thing. I've judged too quickly. I have to click. Okay, even Tajikistan got all the first questions right. Well, they were only able to get the first question right.
So how do you get a silver to cut off? Oh, never mind.
So if you just got the first question right, you'd be top 10. You'd be top 7 in you'd be equal top 7th in Tajikistan. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. What's a non-random place? Let's have a look.
Afghanistan.
Wait, Afghanistan. Okay, we'll do Afghanistan and Papua New Guinea. Okay. Where's Afghanistan?
Can we go to Uruguay?
Wait, Afghanistan didn't enter.
It did not enter.
I guess they're not part of the Asia Pacific.
Can you go to Uruguay?
Oh, New Zealand. Actually, New Zealand is eye-opening. First of all, you might want to think if New Zealand's likely to do well or not. Okay. And why would you think that? Do you think they would do better than Australia or worse?
I think they would. I don't think they do as good as Australia.
No, they would definitely do worse than Australia. Okay.
Yeah, but then I don't think they have like as many like good education facilities.
There's just simply less people. It's not about education. It's the main number is population.
Oh, same thing.
It's not the same thing. It's very different. That's what you have to learn to appreciate. Okay, so not everyone in New Zealand could get the first question, yeah?
Dang.
So New Zealand actually in some sense is worse than Tajikistan. Yeah. Okay. Last country,
Uruguay.
Uruguay. Surely you're curious about some country you're curious about.
Okay, let's go to Japan.
You're curious about Japan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Japan usually does very well, you can see.
Yes.
Oh,
Very low.
so Japan's lowest one. Okay, someone didn't get this in Japan either, but they managed to get a random spread of points in all the questions.
And Bangladesh. Bangladesh.
All right, last one is Bangladesh. Okay.
So how come you got a nan if you got 14 points? I think that's a very honorable mention that you got 14 points spread out across 5 questions.
Bangladesh.
Is Bangladesh in India? Where is that like Bangladesh?
So they all see. Not everyone gets the first question in Bangladesh either. See.
Man, I love Bangladesh.
But considering how easy that question was, like you see how. So I mean, maybe if you didn't find it easier, easy, you got to imagine if you'd find it easy when you're in year 11. Okay, so obviously you might not find it easy now because you're like in year 8 or whatever. Oh no, like it's either USA or Korea is the best in the world.
Oh, Korea.
For the APMO anyway.
Wait,
Like-
USA isn't in this.
Like if you look at this USA, it's weird that USA is in the Asia Pacific, but China isn't.
Dang.
So you have the USA and Korea usually do very well. So where's Korea?
So isn't like the general population of the United States very dumb? Like the general population?
No.
Like, that's like I went to like social experiment videos on YouTube.
Well, the general population of most places is very dumb. It's just the difference in America is they speak their mind. Okay, everyone else hide that they're dumb. You understand?
Oh.
But also, America has some of the smartest people in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a very big gap, right?
Yeah, but actually, America has more smart people than other places because all the smart people from other places go to America to flee their country.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Okay, so where is United States? So one of the reasons I like this Olympiad is because you get to compare your scores with people from the United States. Okay,
Wow.
and not only see if you go to the IMO, right, you only get to compare your scores with the 6 people on the IMO team. But if you go to this APMO, you get to compare with your scores with at least 10 people.
Edward Wan.
Yeah.
Luke Roberts Harry. Brandon Wan.
Actually, Luke Robertali is that guy on YouTube. If you watch like there's this funny like Matt's counts like speed quiz show thing, and he's like the guy who answers before the question's even finished asking. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so
all the United States guys are Asian. That's pretty funny.
that's what's child kraut. I
That
didn't think
sounds
so.
German, so that's German.
Yeah, so they're not all Asian.
But they don't sound like. I don't know.
Okay, so maybe this wasn't the strongest year for them, but you can see getting 4 questions is actually very high. No one got 5 questions, I don't think, for this year. So, okay, one more, and then we're done with this. Korea.
Where is the Republic of Korea? Oh, so you went past Republic of Korea.
Did I?
It's next to Qatar.
Oh, welcome back.
Welcome back. Ohio gozaimasu, Christian Kun.
Yeah, see, look at Korea. They're all like
Always this bright? Yes.
they got 2 people who got 28.
Very good.
I think 28 was the highest score in this.
That guy did very good. Wait, so how come that guy got 28? Youngjin, but Taeyong did also got 28 and Nick only got silver.
Yeah, they have a stupid rule where you can only get 1 gold per country, so
Oh.
yeah, that's not that important.
Yeah, that sucks, bro.
Okay.